How accurate are the stories about these riots in mainstream media? So we've got the strength card, that's interesting, and we've got the hermit card. So it looks absolutely controlled. Whatever we're getting is controlled by the alliance. So that gives me the impression that a lot of it is created, generated, and it's a psyop. So oh my goodness. So this is a lot of this, what you're seeing is either made up or literally staged. And these are planted riots, like planted by, get this, the alliance. Okay. So some of even the footage could be staged, could also be old footage. And they could also create some of this chaos and then go film it and only show the parts that serve whatever psyop they're trying to pull off here. And it looks like they're pulling off a psyop here. And this is interesting because the near future is victory, a victory for the people. So somehow this ends, or as it evolves into a victory for humanity, which right now is exactly the opposite of what it looks like. Like both sides are freaking out about what's going on, and neither of them look like they have it right. Okay, so this is wild. Okay, so we've got the ace. This is going to move in a direction and out something. This is going to move in a direction and out something totally different and end in a celebration of some kind. That's a celebration card, well aspected. Okay, sometimes it's my party substance card, my adrenochrome, but it's really well aspected with all the cards around it. So I'm going to talk about it a different way, which of course the obvious way is a celebration. If you look at those three women, they're celebrating. This is going to end in a celebration. So I guess that July, or that gives us a hint that June 4th might be a big celebration, even though they're trying to make it look like there's so many Trump haters that everybody's going to try to take down his big parade. I'm going to say maybe not. Okay, so a lot of that's a big psyop, and the lefties are really getting stirred up. Okay, it's like unbelievable. Trying to talk to them about it's not helping, though. Not helpful. So I'm just backing off. It's like I'm not even going to talk about that. Okay, so crazy. Let's look at today. So we're going to go June 9th, day by day. This is Monday, June 9th, 2025. We're going to look at that. If you're watching this anywhere other than tarotbyjanine.com, this was a pirated video. So you want to come on over to tarotbyjanine.com and support my channel. Thank you. Okay, so June 9th, let's have a look. So we've got that Hierophant card. Hierophant, and big teaching moment here, and very direct. Because this is the first card down, it's archetypally about us or going into the day. Okay, so I wouldn't call it the deep state card because it's not in the position. This is more personal. So you read this more as an archetype. So the archetype of the Hierophant is incredibly instructional. They like to, I'm actually got all my numerology comes to the fives, except for one number, actually. No, maybe two numbers. When you work it out to the 5-number system, I've got 3 5s. So that's a lot. 3 out of 5 is a lot of 5s. And I'm very much that Hierophant kind of personality. It's somebody that likes to share information. And if they're doing it properly, they're being the visual face of universal intention. In other words, using tools to reflect what the universe wants to tell people. Okay, so if they're doing it properly, so they take their ego out of the equation and then just try to reflect. The reflectors for universal knowledge. Okay, but if you're doing it badly, you're like a preacher, you're like an evangelist, you're like somebody who always thinks they're right about everything. And I really try not to be in that category. Like I might across that way sometime, but I honestly, that's not my intention. So I feel good about, I know my intention, and it's just to reflect information. Okay, so that's the good Hierophant, and all of us need to be that good Hierophant right now. Like if someone does approach us, but there's going to be a lot of people really judgmental about what they see and what they think is going on, by the way. And that's exactly what's happening with my normie friends. They're really judgmental because they think, you know, that whole ice thing, they got it all wrong what it's actually about. Okay, but if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments. If you're actually literally, you know, some ice agents and what they're really doing, let me know. Okay, so we've got that Queen of Swords. Yeah, so there's a lot of judgment and a lot of Trump hating going on all across the world. Okay, so, or that's how it appears. That's what they're stirring up, and they're sending stories out that really like enhance that, it looks like. So we're going to need to be the calm, patient reason over here if anyone cares to actually understand your situation. But in a lot of situations, they won't even listen. So yeah, only extend this energy if someone comes asking. That's my new plan. So yeah, this is the war breaking out in the open. It does look like a lot of what's going on today actually is like maybe some deep state stuff. Okay, so clashing. So in the first read, it looked like a lot of those situations in LA were created by the Alliance. But whatever we're seeing today out in the world, so the big world news we see out today, we got a lot of clashing with who's left of what we call the deep state, the Khazarian mafia. We've got a lot of situations where people are cracking into each other, like warring right out in the open. And we might even hear about that in a bigger way sometime today. And I haven't really studied the newsreels or the Truther News yet, so I don't know. Maybe that's already out there, and it is in the past, so it feels like it could be already out there. Now we've got the Knight of Cups right in the middle here. This is how everybody's feeling, extremely triggered emotionally. Okay, there's a lot of triggered. All weekend it was triggering all the normies, I'll tell you, all the lefties. Oh my goodness, the stories that were going on, right? And I kept feeling like they got it all wrong. Like none of that's actually what that's about. And I think I'm right about that, looking at that first reading we did. Here we've got, so they're going to continue going forward, it looks like, not really understanding the situation. Even by the end of today, I don't think the normies have any more of a handle on what's really going on. Here's our advice, though. We need to be the Empress. So just let things sort out. Remember, I was getting in the last week there that the whole June is going to be a whole bunch of fear porn and total BS all over the news. And that's what I think's going on here. We need to rise above, get in nature, stay connected to our own personal nature. Like there's an inner nature connection to everybody. So even if you can't literally get into nature, you are part of nature. Okay. You're an organic human being and you are part of nature. Okay, try to get in touch with that part of yourself, and for some of us it'll be literally like going outdoors in nature. Now we've got the Nine of Cups. Do something pleasurable, because today's kind of a write-off. News looks like it's going to go every which way, and it's really mostly BS. I got a feeling June's just full of that. Okay, let's look at June 10th. So that was Monday. And it looks kind of like we're just mostly hearing stories. And even if you read some really scary thing that's supposedly happening, okay, remember what I said. Okay, a lot of stuff that they say is happening in June probably isn't. Okay, all right, let's have a look. June 10th. Okay, so this is Tuesday, June 10th. What's going on? 2025. We're looking ahead here. We've got the surrender too. Okay, so we'll need to surrender to something comes out of the blue. So something kind of a new development of some kind. Let's keep looking, see what kind of development. Okay, whereas today looked like it was just a continuation of the crazy weekend, more sorting out of the news that actually mostly looks like was BS about the whole what's really going on with the riots. Okay, and who started them and who's doing them and why they're doing them. I feel like that's a whole lot of planted people, and that actually the alliance was in charge. Now it looks like a new development. So we go in a completely new direction. We go away from the rioting. We look at something totally different tomorrow. And it could be a kind of like, it looks really tough. So I think more big drops, fear porn drops. Okay, disappointments in people. So people leaving the Trump administration or people saying they need to leave. I feel like we're going to get a bunch of people outed in the Trump administration, and somebody in particular might be leaving the Trump administration. That's Tuesday, tomorrow, or stories leading up to eventually they have to leave. So outings and new directions with people, and it seems like that's been a big thing here ever since ever since he got in again. Where we know he was always in the shadows, but when he officially got in again here early this year, I feel like, or I guess it was late last year, was it? Yes, November of last year. I feel like we're going to get a continuation of news coming out of people that maybe he shouldn't have. They try to make Trump look like he just doesn't know any better, and he keeps getting these people that actually turn out to be bad guys, like even Kash Patel and that Dan guy. Okay, look into their histories, guys. I always got, I don't know about those guys. Okay, I feel like they're all using these people's brands, and they're slowly but surely showing you that these people are compromised. All people in politics who make their career in politics are compromised people. Okay, they're all placed, and they were all educated in the same schools, and none of that's okay if they're all compromised. And there's nothing good about any of these people. Okay. And they're just using their brand. And I feel like more of that gets exposed on Tuesday, tomorrow, the 10th. Somebody in particular really gets out as a baddie when they present it as a goodie. And don't believe the hype about, oh, Trump just keeps getting fooled. It's like all of this operation has been planned for years, and it's theater, you guys. Anything to do with politics right now, I'm telling you, every time I look at it in the cards, it's theater. Okay, so they're really just sending out comms and educating people. I've been saying that for years. I personally don't sit around taking any of that stuff personally. I can feel really detached when I look at it, and it's actually a good place to be. All right, but it is fascinating to see why, maybe look into why are they doing it, why that calm, and what are they trying to show us here. Yeah, that's the part that's interesting to me. Now let's look at the 11th. So June 11th, that's Wednesday. Now we're on Wednesday, the 11th, working our way over to the 14th of June. Let's see what we got. Oh boy, some kind of big message. Remember when Trump put out that, so he retweeted or he reposted something. I don't think it was a tweet. I think it was on Truth Social. And he was saying that Biden's, or the person that originally put it out there, but Trump reposted it as it was. So that means he's likely, it seems like a calm that he agrees that Trump has been, or not Trump, Biden's been dead for years, and that basically he's a clone puppet, and or maybe they used all of the above: clones, puppets, AI, like robots. Like, I think they mentioned a whole bunch of stuff, and all of the above could be true for all of the different Bidens we saw over the last 4 years, right? Almost every time we saw him, he was, they were switching around 4 or 5 different versions of him. Okay, so something like that's going to come out again, maybe not exactly that, but he's going to tweet and or post something or repost something that feels pretty explosive. People will think it's like some clarity. This community will think, oh my goodness, he's telling the truth, right? Just like we did when he posted that, right? It'll really link them to Q, or the information of Q, or the information of truthers. Okay, so and just like that post that he did, that was brilliant. We really aligned, this community really aligned with that post. It's like, oh my goodness, like that's what we've been saying for years. And he actually just said that out loud. Yeah. So something like that again, looks like. And of course, it'll cause all kinds of controversy again. And lots of people will read it different ways. And it could go on for days, people trying to sort out, what did he mean by that? Actually, it'll be like a blunt truth or a clarity. But a lot of people, of course, the mainstream media will, misconstrue it here. Anyway, so that's interesting. We'll keep an eye out for that. That's the 11th. Now, this is the 12th. Let's look at that. I want to really mix these up good. So June 12th. What do we got? And that's a Thursday. So people are still, there's still controversy about whatever he put out the day before, something he said. Brought up a whole lot of things and got everybody really looking into things again, which is probably exactly why he says it, right? Because when he did the Biden thing, it circulated all kinds of information about how mask wearing the Biden must have been, and all kinds of information about, what would it, what does happen when you supposedly had a president of the United States for 4 years who's been dead for years, and we've had a puppet, a mask wearer, some CGI, like somebody's got to go down for that. Like I'm surprised people aren't yelling more about that. It's fascinating. It's fascinating what's going on. I can't fathom that we're in this. We're like the movie's gotten so nuts and off the rails. I just can't even. It's like, seriously. Anyway, so the people are still, looks like they're still really talking about whatever happened the day before. So that seems like a really big deal the day before. Okay, so here we've got the Chariot here. Now we're going to go overseas. Some really difficult things happening in Europe. Some really difficult stories are going to come out. In Europe, I feel like what you'll need to know and keep in mind if you're from the areas is probably likely the UK and possibly Ireland. And we know they're having a really difficult time of it. Ireland all weekend and lots of places, actually all over the world, were rioting about various different things. I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the astrology. Do you remember what Meg's been saying about the astrology the last few days? Yeah. It's pretty difficult stuff going on, right? In the Saturn placement, I think, and something else. I can't remember. But anyway, you'll have to go check out what Jen's been saying lately about the astrology. But I feel like it really created lots of rioting out in the streets. And in particular, when it's in the UK, it seems to be about all of the unbelievable amounts of people that are just dropping off in all of these places that have no business being there, don't even want to be there, it seems, and don't have there's no comfort level between the different people. There's no integration or anything, and they're giving them perks that the regular folks from there are largely suffering, say for instance, in Ireland, lots of suffering financially going on to the locals, yet these people that are being dropped off in record numbers in tiny communities are just literally being taken care of. And it's been rubbed in the face of the locals. And so it's obvious that the government is trying to wake people up there. I mean, not them particularly, but I believe the White Hat Alliance has control of that government. They've capitulated, and they're making those people look just as bad as really what they had planned to do really slowly over the next 10, 20 years. They're doing it all at once. So they're bringing in the amounts of people they were going to do slowly and just like do that frog water boiling, where before you know it, it's boiling, but it was happened so slowly. No, they're doing it like an overnight boil. Okay, so people actually wake up and notice that, you know what, this was the plan all along. They were going to absolutely flood your country. Like, they're creating civil war situations all over the world. This was a deep state plan to dismantle the world, bring in their world laws, and clamp everything down in 15-minute cities. That was the deal. That was the idea, and that's all been messed with Trump and the white hats in the background. So no longer going to be the case, but they're still playing out these scenarios, right? So that's what I've been saying for years. So here we've got, I feel like something happens, and this community has a much better understanding by the end of the day there that I'm talking about here. They'll have a much better understanding the situation, take it way down, so it'll appear way worse than it is. So something's going to be talked about and in the news about a European city, or maybe a lot of places in Europe, that's really alarming, okay, and has a lot to do with, I believe, illegal immigration again, okay. And I feel like the story just really gets exaggerated here. So we're going to need to do our due diligence and really look at what's real and what's fear porn, okay? Because it'll get everybody really freaking out. But really, it's just to get at least normies woken up to, this isn't okay what they're doing, okay? So being all polite about it, okay? At some point, boundaries, and make a boundary and literally cut off who's coming in, and have a look at why all of these people are being flooded in there. What's really the agenda there? Okay, so now let's look at Friday. So October, what are we on now? The 13th, yep. Or sorry, June. Did I just say October? Where do I get these ideas? Okay, June 13th, Friday the 13th. Wait a sec. That's double check, Coco. Is that a Friday? Friday the 13th. Yikes, eh? That date again.
Yes, it is.
It is. Thanks, Coco. Coco just made a guest appearance on Janine's World News. Thank you, Coco. Friday the 13th. Okay, this should be interesting. Let's see what we got. And this is the day before Trump's big party there, where they're literally pulling in tanks. The interesting thing is, they were talking about tanks going to DC, and they were showing pictures of it on the normie news, okay, and getting my normie friends all cranked up, okay, and they were like, oh my goodness, they're gonna kill all the people in, that are protesting against all the ICE, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, excuse me, those tanks are going to DC. They're not going to, per se, at least I didn't see any news about tanks going to LA. Okay, maybe I just missed that, but these tanks were going to DC is what I understood. And they're going to DC, I said, because there's some big parade, okay, that Trump's doing on his birthday. Okay. And they had no understanding of that. They were like, no, it's to kill all the people that are against ICE, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, okay. I need somebody boots on the ground telling me what's really going on there. All right, let's have a look. So Friday the 13th, we've got, okay, some big truth takes us in a totally, again, so we're getting really, really cranked around with our emotions all week, you guys, okay, because this looks like now something totally, so some big truth bomb, okay, completely changes a lot of things from what it appears to be, okay, and it's gearing up to something pretty big, like where it's shocking, or it'll shock the normies for sure. Could just be a revelation to us in this community. So something's coming. It could even be from a space or another dimension, because I'm not so sure we're a spinning ball with gravity's created by our spinning a zillion miles an hour, moving through space around the sun. I'm not so sure that's how it works, but I don't know how it works. I haven't a clue, but honestly, I don't believe anything I was taught in school. So I'm just going to be open-minded about how it plays out, okay, and what really is happening, because I'm pretty sure I got a lot to learn there. So I'm staying open-minded, and I'm not too worried about trying to hammer down exactly how it works, okay? I believe we're an energy center for sure, and we're maybe held together, but I'm not sure gravity works the way they say it does, okay? I'm just not convinced. It's too much BS for me, so I'm just not going to try to figure that out just yet, and my cards haven't been really clear about it, other than it's not quite how they told us, and it's not quite how the flat earth say it exactly. So it's somewhere in the middle somewhere. Okay, just so you know what I've been getting there. But something from some other dimension and or something, a really out there kind of situation shows up here and freaks everybody out, or some truth about something, and I feel like it's UFO and or driven by something to do with other worlders or off-worlders, some kind of truth about that, or situation that's created by the appearance of these energies, okay? Because that card could even mean the appearance of them, or even a message from them that they're coming physically, or something shows up that looks like it's real proof about these guys exist, or other dimensional beings, other alien beings exist in the world amongst humans, something like that, and it causes a real revelation. Okay, so now we seem to be getting yanked in a different direction. So we're going away from all of that ice stuff that everybody's yelling about in the normie world, and we're going to then we got yanked to Europe for some kind of situation. Now we're getting yanked to outer space here, and or other dimensional energies, and maybe even it looks like good alien to me energies, some kind of proof about it, or a dropped piece of information that really freaks everybody out here and maybe becomes quite a revelation as the weeks go forward from that, right? But it's just the beginning of that, and it looks like it's happening on Good Friday. Good Friday. Where do I get these? Okay, Friday the 13th, which maybe is a good kind of Friday, because maybe I meant that. Maybe I meant good. I let the universe sort of just come out my mouth sometimes. Maybe it will be a great Friday. And by the way, just because the bad guys have told you for years that Friday the 13th is bad, maybe it's actually a really lucky day. I'm going to think of it that way, as a lucky day. Now let's look at Trump's birthday, June 14th. Yes. Let's have a look. What the heck's going to happen? Okay, it is kind of weird that he's doing a big military parade when he's been told he's, kind of a dictator or whatever. And this is just foolish people saying that. That isn't anyone who knows this guy's brand and what he's really all about would know better. But he for sure does have a lot of respect for the military, at least the good military. I'm hoping that is true, and I'm intending that to be the truth. And I think he does work and is even in charge of what we've been calling the good military, or has a lot to do with that, white hat military. Okay, so him having a military parade on his birthday, that's going to be fascinating. Talk about comms. It's definitely going to be exciting that day. Okay, so that's Saturday now, the 14th of June, Trump's birthday. What the heck's going on? Okay, so honestly, none of this looks like the big rioting that everyone's expecting. Okay, all the normies are saying, okay, there's going to be civil war between now and the 14th. That's literally, okay. I feel like, let's go back to the original question that I asked right when I started this. I said, okay, that was all, a lot of that is trumped up, let's call it. A lot of that is faking people out. Okay, so, and planted people in neighborhoods causing trouble. Okay, and then they photograph it and or take video footage of it, and then they replay from all these different angles. And guess what? It's not the whole city wide. Okay. And it even fools the people who live in the city because they recognize that's their city and it looks like it's burning down. And I believe that they're just doing these isolated, like almost like taken advantage of photo shoots. You know how the rich people do that, and or famous people will they'll go get a photo op situation. That's what they're doing with these. I really don't think they're what they're proclaiming to be. I don't think they're huge assaults on entire cities where they're getting ripped apart. I feel like that is exaggerated and part of the BS that we were expecting in June. Okay, sorry, I just bleaked out there. It looks like it's a great celebration, and the biggest thing, and the whole world's in on it somehow. So everyone's going to be watching Trump's big celebration or whatever, and see that Ace of Swords here, some kind of independence, and or I feel like the big message is that we're more free than we thought, and our financial system is we're not debt slaves anymore. And I don't know how they're going to put that across, but it feels like that's the big takeaway. Certainly for you in this community, that's what I think we're going to take away. Maybe the normies won't all take that away, but actually they get more on board with it than you think. Like leading up to it, no one will ever tell you that in news, but it turns out a whole lot of people have actually turned into Trump lovers. So he actually gets a lot of support on his day. Wow. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching my video. Thanks, Coco, for helping me. And love you guys. Sending you all ravens. Bye-bye. Then we're going to do one after this one on the FEMA people, because the last time I looked, it looked like they were all capitulated, and this was part of the movie. FEMA doesn't even exist anymore, not in the way it was. It's been actually taken over by the white hat and the good military. So I feel like that's being played out to show you that the deep state government's not here for the people. Okay. And FEMA was, I think, a demonic organization. Okay. I think it was a deep state organization. So they're trying to show you that, right? Remember, they built all those camps, and supposedly they were going to put people that didn't go along with the little pandemic plan and didn't go along with the injections and didn't go along. That's really who is truthers like me would be in those camps. Okay. If their plan had worked, and if the white hat, alliance hadn't stepped in the background and did what they did. Anyway, so FEMA's, they've been deep state all along, of course, right? Okay, so the FEMA, okay, so we're not doing the FEMA one, actually. When I shuffled, what I was shuffling on was an update for the people in the hurricane area that's still obviously in devastation. Okay, so a lot of what you're hearing is true. So they're telling you they're not getting their supplies. People are being turned away who are helping. All of that, I believe, is part of the movie, unfortunately, to show people just how devastating really what their government would be doing for them. Okay, so I know a lot of people won't like hearing that, but that's what I get. Okay, wow. Okay, that's going to very soon stop. I feel like even by tomorrow or Monday, I feel like all of a sudden, all kinds of help comes flooding in there, and this all gets stopped and turned around, because this looks really good, where now everybody's getting let through and all their help. But I believe at least some of those reports were true. Okay, and maybe they found them and were, how mainstream media manipulates. Well, the mainstream media is largely being now manipulated, by the way, by the white hat and alliance. Okay, so they're still using them to out how bad these guys are and what a bunch of scumbag liars they are. Okay, but they're also using them to put out truth. Okay, so some of the stuff's true that they put out now, and they're using them to out the mainstream media. Okay, so they're the things they're reporting are outing these guys. Okay, that's what I get. And also the fact that they're reporting, all of these issues that are going on. Okay, but of course, they're not naming FEMA as the bad guys or the government as the bad guys. Okay. So, but we're seeing on the back channels real people on the ground telling us the truth. And that's being spread like wildfire through communities like this one and also through alternative media. Okay. So the alternative media is who most people are now watching, by the way, to some degree. Okay, even normies watch YouTube. Okay, and a lot of YouTubers are, boots on the ground, looking at what's really happening. Like the truth's coming out in all of these different ways, but it's only serving to make these. You can now really everybody's starting to understand just how much the mainstream media has been lying to us. Crazy times, people. Anyway, so it looks like things are going to get a lot better. Look at this bottom row. We've got the world, which is people will find comfort and safety. We've got the sun, so a lot more abundance comes in, and we've got people helping, so all kinds of help. And that's the next thing that happens, and that's in the next few days, I'm thinking. You're going to see a big turnaround, but unfortunately, they had to show you just what they're capable of and who FEMA really is. FEMA or deep state, okay? And they need to completely take that organization, I believe they already have in the back channels, and completely revamp it because it was being used for evil. All kinds of terrible stories coming out about FEMA and the workers that were supposedly like working for FEMA, like scumbags doing terrible things, looting and worse things even to people. Anyway, okay. So much outing going on, you guys. This is part of this is unfortunate, but we have to know who our enemy is, what they've been doing. Okay, so election update. Let's do an election update. Lots of people want to know. Right? That's something probably every time I do one up until the election, we're days away. We're going to have to do an update every day because we got to keep an eye on it. Okay, so are we still having one? Is kind of the way we're going here. Lots of backdoor deals, so a lot of outing of things going on, and outing of how there's all kinds of deal making going on in the background. So that's interesting. Okay, we've got the Queen of Wands here and the Hermit. So she's sovereign, not afraid to be her true self. She's honest. She has a good sense of humor. She's the woo community, so a lot of woo community involved in keeping us up to date on what's going on with the election. So much truth coming out too, and intuitive ways of gathering that information. What does Jean-Claude call it? Non-local information. Okay, so we've also got the Alliance closely watching and monitoring the situation. Lots of things you're watching around what you think is, like, for instance, the debate between those two VP picks. Okay, it was all theater. Okay, theater. Just these are two players. Both of them, by the way, were deep state originally and have capitulated. And I don't know about that Tim guy. Did he capitulate or did he get strong-armed into sort of walk of shame? Because he's being made completely a fool of. Like, it's a complete joke how badly he's being portrayed in the media even. It's like, Okay. That guy's, yeah. So he's literally a laughing stock. Okay. And, JD Vance, a lot of stuff at the very beginning when he first came out as a pick, it was more to spotlight him and for you to look into his background. Okay. So he's connected to adrenochrome. Yeah. Anyway, so I feel like he definitely capitulated and or well, and somebody's playing him or several people are playing that guy. Right. Some big names even some people that we thought died. Yeah, you guys, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we've got the 6 of Pentacles and the 6, so 2 6s and a 7. Are we going to have everything works itself out? We've got some really big information coming out that's very unique. Things going on in places far away that could take our attention away. We've got the 3 and the 6. Looking at, I don't know if it's written in stone. They're going to have one at this point or not going. Like, it doesn't look like a sure thing that they're going to have one. And there still feels like there's wiggle room to not have it right up until the last minute here. So I'm going to just keep an eye on this, guys. There's no, like, so many things, according to the cards, it looks like things are going really well for the war, for the good guys. And all the plays they've been making are going well. They're happy with it. There's been no, like, remember we had that big setback, which created it to look like there was going to be an election. They were going to play something out there. Now it looks like they could take a step back. And it's still a 50-50 on they're going to have it or not going to have it. So that's interesting. And the magician says it's really flexible, whether they're going to have it or not. Wow. Okay. So we're going to keep a close eye on that, guys. So adrenochrome coming out for everyone to know about. When somebody wants to know and they're just fed up with this, like, we talk about it. Turkey has talked about it. It's been in the mainstream media. In Greece, Turkey, other places, it's been outed really as a thing. Okay, but really not in North America and or Europe. Not in the mainstream anyway, for normies to know it's a real thing. Let's have a look. Because I keep getting in the cards that's something that's really, they really want to out. Yeah. So we've got the 2. So there's a couple of ways they could really do it here. They're still trying to decide. And one of them involves a really powerful woman. Well, we know that both Camilla, and I'm not saying she was originally a woman, but also Hillary. Okay. And even though Hillary has been dealt with, okay, I believe that. And the cards say that's true. She still publicly appears to be still around, right? So she's still playing out a role in the movie, okay? The theater of politics. She's still around, okay? But they need to publicly take her down. So it's either her, I'm thinking, but anyway, a powerful woman in the world is going to go down for or be the big truth coming out about adrenochrome to that. It has something to do with that woman. Okay, so I don't know which one it is. And we've got the Fool there. Okay, so surrender to judgment. Yeah, it's going to be tricky because so many people, like, it'll wake a lot of people up, but it'll also shut some people down. It'll be like they won't even want to talk about it, or like some people will not fare well with this information. They know it's going to be tricky. We're right up against it. There's 2 dates they could bring it out. I feel like it's literally any time now, because all those 10s mean you're right up against it. It's time. It's time. Okay, militaries think like it's between they come out before or just after. Okay, they feel like military on the streets when that really, like it feels like it goes hand in hand with a big event that brings military out on the street. So it's, I'm thinking between now and the end of. So yeah, it's got to be this month by the look of it. The King of Cups. I mean, that could also be November. So early in November. So between October and early in November. I mean, that's we're up against it. So I'm going to say any day. Any day here. Any day or week here, but really close. Okay, wow. That's whew. Will the Mexican government be outed? Because we know that was a big scam, and they got a Khazarian mafia puppet in there, a Zionist in the Mexican government, yeah, leading Mexico. How do you like that? And they, by the way, and look into this, they killed so many people, or so it looked in the theater of war, okay, and the theater of, no, it's not the theater of war, it's more the theater of politics. Politics is the biggest area where they've really got a big theater thing going on, okay? Not to say you shouldn't take things seriously there, but just with a grain of salt, because a lot of things are played out that already happened. So what I've got for a long time was they just put her in there and made it really obvious and made it look like a bunch of people got killed for her to be placed in there to show you how they do it. If that was really true, I feel like they would have already taken her out. Okay, I think other governments from other places would have, like, so so she's known to have taken out, what, 30 something people, or her people took those people out who were all against her. Somehow that slips into the mainstream media, but no other country comes to Mexico's rescue. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so to me, that's theater. Okay, we got some theater there. Okay, so there must be something going on there that's a psyop. That's a psyop to me. Okay, I'm just saying. Okay, in the past, I think some other countries would have come to the rescue of Mexico at that point. Okay, if that was true and it was known to be true. But when you have the whole world capitulated, all their governments and the deep state and all this big flux, all of these weird things just go under the radar. Do you know what I mean? So I think they're trying to make it really obvious. Who are we fighting in this war? Governments. Okay, so that's why it's gone unchecked in Mexico, and they're letting a murderer, okay, somebody responsible for the murder of 30 plus people, her rivals, okay, that makes no sense that they would allow that. You know what I mean? Like, they being the rest of the world's governments. Somebody would have stepped up by now if any of those governments were real, which they're not. Okay, so that's the problem. Okay, so what we're asking is, the person wanted to know before Mexico turns into, well, it already was a communist, like all of these governments that have been capitulated were already deep state to some degree run. They're already, all governments, from what I can see, every time I look at it, are deep state. Now they're capitulated. Look that word up if you don't know what I'm talking about. And they're being run and then now puppeted. So a big theater plays out for the whole world. It's not just for the US, it's for the world. Canadian government's no different. UK government's no different, right? Just to remind you guys what's been going on. That's what the cards have been saying for years. And I'm trusting the cards. Like, even though things take time to play out, I'm sorry, but they've been right about the whole thing in the general sense. Okay, details, no, we're not always right about all the details, and that's absolutely true. But the general sense that the plandemic was a plandemic, right from the beginning, I was getting that. The vaxes were partly booby trapped. Some of them were really dangerous. Some of them weren't. Not nearly as many people would. Like, I could go on and on about all the big vision of things the cards have been dead on about. Little details, timing, no, not so much. Right? I'm not blowing my horn. I'm just saying. We got the general idea, and it's been playing out. I've been getting it from the cards. I don't have military, like, people in the background telling me. I've been getting all the stuff that those people that got somebody talking to them in the background from the military. I get the same thing they get. And I didn't listen to their videos first. I got it. Sometimes I even get it before they do. Anyway, so that doesn't make me smarter or better. None of that. I'm just saying, the woo people, if you're doing it right, we get good intel. Just saying. It's a good tool. That's all I'm saying, right? If you're using it properly. And yeah, we can misinterpret it. Absolutely. Sometimes I do, for sure. And you can put your own slant on it. Absolutely. Yeah, you can. But the big picture generally is what I go with. And I do that on purpose because that's where it's a really reliable tool. I've relied on it for my whole life and career. So I trust it. Okay. So I'm not saying you need to. I'm just saying, just trying to describe how I feel about it. Right. That's why I trust it. Like, if I need to know something, I go to my cards. I don't go to anybody's intel, or no way. I just go to my cards. That's where I get my stuff. Anyway. So where were we? Oh, stock market. Okay, there's an interesting stock market in question. So on October 29th, 95 years ago, okay, 1929, October 29th, there was a huge stock market crash, which led to the huge, like, big depression of the 20s and 30s, right? The big depression. Okay. In the world, it was a world depression. Anyway, so that stock market crash was devastating. Okay. And a lot of people are saying, because we're expecting the stock market to crash, that and it was on a Tuesday, by the way. So October 29th, the year 1929 apparently was on a Tuesday. This is what this person writes to me in the comments. I don't know if that's true. So look it up. You guys check this for me. I didn't check this. I'm just going with the cards on it. So they're saying October 29th this year, 2024, is a Tuesday again. Will that be when the stock market crashes? Because that would be interesting, right? They like these dates, right? So let's have a look. So we don't have an ace in the first four cards down or a major arcana. So I'd say not necessarily. I think it'll be a little after that. It'll be a little after that. And I also think it's really being manipulated by the good guys this time. So maybe that other one was done by the bad guys, so they like that date. Maybe there's a reason, or an astrological reason, why they're going to do it a different date. But I feel like it'll come after that. So that's interesting. So after the 29th. I'm just trying to get a feel for when then. The Devil and the Page of Wands. Okay, that feels, well, I mean, it feels like December. I'm getting a December feel. Now, isn't that interesting? I mean, I feel like the financial system will be known to be down sooner than that. I mean, according to what I've been getting in the past. But the stock market, that's a whole different thing. Isn't that interesting? So it's looking like more like December, or let's just say this, after the 29th of October. So I'll leave it there. Okay, let's have a look at. Oh, someone wanted to know. So the area that was largely affected in this flooding, mudslides, and hurricane aftermath is in and around, and even the township close to the Biltmore mansion. So the Vanderbilt's mansion, the one with the creepy swimming pool, okay, that's been photographed with the art with Anderson Cooper. So it's Anderson Cooper's mom was married to the guy that built the place, I believe, or that's her family. I can't remember. Okay, so that horrifying woman, Anderson Cooper's mother, I even forget her first name, but anyway, she was a total cabal witch and apparently has passed on. Okay, but that's the scariest human. Look at that person's eyes, if she's a person anymore, because her eyes were the blackest black eyes I've ever seen, and there was deadness in them. And the art hanging up even in old photographs of her with her children, okay, like there was a picture of her with her sons, one of them who committed supposedly suicide jumping out a window, and Anderson Cooper when they were little playing on the bed. Okay, she's a total pedophile, or was. Okay, and is she a she? We're not sure, but I feel like not even a human, a total monster. Okay, this is Anderson Cooper's mother. Okay, there was pictures behind her in this old photograph of her, and her place is insane. Like an insane person decorated that place. Okay, there's not even one quiet spot. Everything's got pattern everywhere. There's like something's going on with her mind. Okay, that is insanity. No actual balanced human would ever decorate like she did. Okay, I'm telling you, disgusting. But anyway, and horrifying and even alarming, and even the thing of nightmares. Okay. The whole mansion is like a nightmare place. And some spots they'll show you in photographs, oh nice, but when you start looking really close at some of the art, it's horrifying. There's that famous painting, huge, and it was hanging right by the pool apparently, and of course they've scrubbed that off the internet. You have to really look for it now, but it's like with all the kids lined up in their bottoms facing with red bottoms like they've been spanked, and little shirts on and bare bottoms, and hands tied behind their back. Pedophilia. Okay. And, SRA, satanic ritual abuse. And then there's a picture of what appears to be Anderson Cooper hanging, hands up, hanging like, and, and the pool is painted in the background. And the pool was never known to have water in it ever. And, used as a kill room, apparently. And this is the conspiracy. Okay, but I believe it. And I've looked at cards on it. It's absolutely a disgusting place. There's also tunneling under there. That's part of, now I don't know if they suffered damage. I think the mainstream story about it is that they had a bit of flooding, but not devastating. But I'm just wondering if some of the did the white hat military take an opportunity while everything was in chaos? Are they taking an opportunity to clear that place out? Has it already been cleared out? I just want to know, and somebody wanted to know in the comments. I thought it was a good question. Okay, let's have a look. So look it up, you guys. Of course, a lot of the stuff scrubbed. You might have to go to more alternative sites, or don't just Google it, because Google's going to show you the nice art in their house. But there's in all the alternative stuff you'll see, and maybe go to some YouTube videos or Rumble videos about the art in the Vanderbilt mansion. Okay, that's what you want to look up. Okay, especially the very controversial swimming pool in that mansion and the art that used to hang around it. Okay. But that's all been scrubbed. Okay. Because they let tour groups go through there to make money. Okay. So, of course, they took that stuff out of there, right? Once the horrified public got a little glimpse of it, they've tried to scrub it off the internet, but you can still find it. All the digital soldiers, making sure they got screenshots of it when it comes around. Anyway, so people share it under this video for other people if you have some of that stored on your computer, because a lot of that's been scrubbed. I went looking for it and they scrubbed a lot of it. So you want that to keep circulating. Okay. That's how we be digital soldiers. We circulate what these scumbags are doing. Okay. Don't let them get away with it. Okay, so we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Oh yeah, this was rated, and it's been dealt with. You bet. It's not officially under their protection anymore. The bad guys, the deep state, these guys this was raided, and things were taken out of there as part of this war on pedophilia. Satanic ritual abuse, the war on satanic worshiping overlords, and those people being the minions, because it goes up from there. Just horrifying things. Anyway, these people are all involved in from that whoever built the mansion and all of that family. Disgusting. Okay. Yeah, they were rounded up and things were, this has been dealt with. We'll hear about it in retrospect, but this was a long time. I'd even say 5 years ago, this got dealt with, but they'll play some things out around it later. So you might hear about it like it's happening now, like what happens with Real Raw News. They play it like, oh, this just happened, but it actually happened years ago. Okay, so the Real Raw News has a lot of truth to it, but they play around with time frames, and when they say a date, it could be years ago on that date or something. So they act like something just happened, but it's really happened years ago. That's what I get about Real Raw News, by the way, if you're new on the channel and you didn't know that. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care, and sending you all ravens. Bye-bye. And of course, I've heard those remote viewers before on the subject of what's supposed to be coming in October and November, and what they're calling a global, sort of a water event, I guess, right? Title sort of global event. And it's downright scary. Okay, so we're going to see, her information that she gives, because she adds, and I've never heard this before, that this square with the planets is going to really affect it. Okay, so I don't know how that is. I'd love Meg to be on here, but I couldn't get a hold of Meg soon enough to get on here, and she's in a different timeline than me, so it's probably a bad time, and we're sitting here on a Sunday doing this. I thought I'd, not bother her on a Sunday, but it'd be really fun. I think I'm going to ask Meg about this if we don't get real clear answers around that square affecting the tides. I've never heard that before, that a big square in the sky would affect tides. But anyway, let's have a look. So here we've got the Knight of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. So we've got the 7. So that's a strategic card, but it's strategic information. So the information that's out there has been moved around a lot. Okay, so that tells me that possibly some of it's been manipulated. That's a manipulation card. Manipulation of information. So that's interesting. I wonder if things have changed since those remote viewers got that information or download that they got. Or were they drawing it from a source that was maybe manipulating them? And I'm not trying to smear those guys. They've done great work. I'm just saying it's really interesting that this card says information manipulated. So it could even just be that we're working with things have changed since then. Even that could be what it means. So here we've got the Knight of Wands. So she's a digital soldier type who's absolutely here for the good of humanity. So the Pamela Mace person is a good person working for the good of humanity. We've got the Two of Pentacles. So some of it she's good. She's right on with some of it she's not right on with. So that's interesting because that card says, well, we've got about half and half. So some of it's right, some of it isn't. Now we've got the Four of Cups here. So there's a big piece missing, and the piece missing has to do with what the water will do. Okay, or how it'll affect the tides, maybe, because this is actually what you'll see on the ground. Okay, and also fours are not major arcanas. This is a major arcana, but this is interesting. We've got the Hanged Man. So I feel like going forward, this has been either stepped back, manipulated, or changed in the outcome. Okay, so something's changed where it doesn't do what she's describing. So she's describing a devastating situation where the tide keeps coming in. You can't stop it, and the water's kind of out of control. And she goes on to say all kinds of things and describes it. So go and watch the video after this, okay? If you haven't already. But it's very interesting because these cards are saying basically that isn't gonna, and I'm not seeing a yes here. I'm not seeing, yes, this will happen. I feel like it's already been changed. This has already been, either the information originally was manipulated or something's changed in the information. Maybe some people say timelines changed. I'm not sure I'd exactly describe it like that. But let's say something's changed, maybe even been manipulated in the background. Okay, now we have to ask. So I do get something might happen that's water related, but take it way down. Okay, and this card puts it way off in the distance. So that'll give, I feel like, time for things to change on that count. So it doesn't feel like it's going to happen when they say it's going to happen, not with that card. So we won't see it, and we might see some situation around water. Okay, but take it way down because now we've got a page, and we also have the Sun. So things that are going on in the world feel like they've changed this, and that could even have something to do with soldiers, so good military. So maybe we're talking white hat, maybe we're talking alliance. Let's further look into some of these questions that that digital soldier wrote to me. Did white hats know about this event? Because that would be interesting. If we get some of these same cards, that would mean they might have had a hand in stepping. So it looks like it's been really stepped back. And possibly the information right from the get-go was manipulated. That's a possibility with that Seven of Swords there in the background. So, and that part of her info is correct, but take it way, way down, which every time I've looked at these global water situation, like so many people and psychics and intuitives have talked about it. Okay, global water. Devastating, going to wipe out the west coast of Canada and the US, blah, blah, blah. That's been going on for years. And every time I look at it, it doesn't look anything like they're saying. Take that stuff way down. Okay. So just saying, just what my cards never agree that it's going to be some huge. So once again, I've got a little bit of what she says is true. Some of it isn't. Some of it is. Okay. Let's have a look at, did the white hats know about it? Know about this potential, right? Because Cliff's been talking about it for years. Okay, so here we've got the Fool and the Seven, so that's interesting. Seven's a fear card. And the Fool. The Fool being a major arcana could be a yes. They saw it as a possibility, but not a for sure thing. So even when they looked at it, they didn't see it as a sure thing. It was a fear. There was a potential. Interesting. Okay. I feel like this, I feel like they did change it. I feel like the white, look at this. We've got, so they did something to step this back, or maybe they got a hold of that. Who knows? Maybe that flyby group that's going to do a flyby around the world that'll look like a second moon. Maybe that has something to do with what'll change the energy here, because the energy is definitely not manifesting the way Pamela May said it would. And that doesn't make her wrong per se. Looks like some of her stuff was right, but something was manipulated from the get-go, and also the White Hats did know about it, it looks like, or the Alliance, or maybe both, the Alliance and the White Hats. They saw the fear or the potential of it, and it feels like, so this card's like stepping through a gateway, so I feel like they might have done some, because you take action with that. There's action involved here. So they did some kind of action that created safety for the earth here. So some kind of action was taken, and it was a victory for us. We don't get that to happen because of whatever action was taken. So I'm not getting that video to be an accurate description of what we're going to be looking at in the next few months. And oh my goodness, thank goodness. Go watch the video if you haven't already. Maybe wait till I'm done my video though. Yeah, or you can stop it and come back to me. Okay, yeah, so that's interesting. Now, what were the other questions now? Will large segments of global populations need to evacuate? Well, actually, now these are null and void, because I don't get any of that manifesting anywhere near so no. We're going to go with the no on that. I'm going to just take that right off the table, as I'm not too worried about what she's saying there. Maybe we'll get some weird activity with big tides. Yeah, I feel like a little bit of that's going to happen, but nothing like she's saying. Nothing like she was basically saying people are going to have to evacuate. It'll be years of devastation. Da, 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 da. It was horrifying. Okay, thank goodness. Okay, that isn't going to be the case. So whatever Cliff was picking up on way back then, and whatever she was picking up on, and those people were picking up on, that she kind of quotes them and shows even some of their remote viewing drawings, etc. I feel like that's either been changed, or somehow something was put in place to have that not happen the way it was maybe originally planned to happen, or potentially going to happen. Okay, so that's a no on that one altogether. Now, as promised, I'm going to go through, because we've got some crazy predictions. And remember, I said like September and October, even November, we're going to see all kinds of, some of it fear porn, all kinds of really manipulated stories out there. And not that people may even be thinking they're getting truth, but I feel like we have to be very careful that we don't just jump on a bunch of people's bandwagons here. Like, stay just grounded in what you know to be true, and also remember you can create some of your own outcomes, like by really focusing and intending. Okay, so we need our focus and intention, and really know where we're coming from there. Let's have a look at, empower yourself with trusting that you can have some input out there by not putting out your fears and thinking you're fearful and worst case scenario thoughts, okay? And how you do that, even if you're feeling those things, you can tell yourself verbally that you're not. So have a mantra that says, I do not comply to some of the fear porn out here. I visualize, and then talk about how you visualize it. And every day I get proof that my visualization is coming true, something like that. Speaking about it in the positive, as if you're moving in the direction of your vision, okay, and not, the fear porn visions. Okay. All right. Wow. Well, that was exciting. So we're going to start with, so we're on the 29th. Let's start there. No, like we're almost done the 29th. So I'm going to do the 30th. Let's do September 30th. So that would be Monday, September 30th. Let's see what we got. Secrets. So more and more huge, really big stuff's being revealed. Like if you get a chance, go on X, go on Telegram. Like you want to get signed up to those too. I mean, it's not going to cost you money. Just go. It's such good information shared on there, but the stuff that's being shared is unbelievable, especially about the movie and music industry. It's just crazy. And that's going to take down a lot of the deletes. We're not going to call them the elites. We're going to call them the deletes. That's going to take down a lot of traffickers and, people doing crimes against humanity. Just that information alone, what's going on with the whole Diddy thing. And it's I feel like it's going to circle back around to the politicians. Like everybody seems to be getting caught up in that net. It's fascinating. Anyway, it's so important to be keeping an eye on what's coming out here, in my opinion. Like certainly what I'm doing every day, I spend hours just watching all this stuff go down. So secrets coming out, floodgates of information. Okay, of things that have been held secret or kept secret. And don't forget, the way we take down this bunch, we know they're secrets. Their only real way they're getting away with this stuff was they were doing it all in secret. Okay, so now that their little secrets out, okay, and it's daily we're finding out more and more things going on. Okay, it's absolutely necessary to share that, look into it, and keep an eye on it, because that's what's taken down these guys. Okay, so yeah, more and more people learning more and more things. And like I've been saying all along, and now even Trump's saying it. So either Trump's watching my videos or we're on the same page. Okay, and I got so much flack for this, and I just have to say, I have to toot my horn here, okay, because I've been nonstop for years, probably 2 years, saying this is all being played out. A lot of it's happened already, and they are showing you, okay, what these guys have been up to, basically showing you who your enemy is and showing you what these guys have been up to. And it had to be done this way because if they just fixed the problem and then carried on, people wouldn't know about everything that's been going on. They wouldn't care about it anymore, and it would somehow creep back into our world. Okay, and it would just be covered over. And no, we have to actually blow the whole thing up, blow these guys out into the open, shine a big light on them. And Trump has as much as said that very same thing recently. Okay, that we had to show this. This is why it's taken so long. It had to be this way. I've been saying that for years and getting a lot of flack for it. Not from you guys, because yeah, obviously, because you're on the website, so you're okay with that info. But you know, out there in the world, getting a lot of abuse about that. So I just wanted to mention that, right? I'm so happy I heard that out of Trump's mouth. It's like, whew. Okay, so here we've got the near future. We've got the Two of Swords. So something's on hold. Something's on hold. So this is the day of the 30th. So more big secrets come out. It looks like it might have health related. Pentacles can be health. Okay, pages can be children, but so about children's health, maybe pediatric health, or even like could be about reproductive health. Anyway, a really big juicy secrets coming out. Now that's nonstop though. That all of that stuff's out there, but maybe something in particular really circulates. Okay, but yeah, a lot of like the whole COVID scam things come out. And I loved just the recent thing Cliff put out talking about what COVID really was and how they created it and how they went around putting it. I saw videos at the very beginning of the lockdown where people were in it, like one in particular video that circulated everywhere. This person was spreading something all over in a computer store. Do you guys remember that? That one went viral. Like, no, then people stopped talking about it and got all sucked into the whole fake pandemic thing. You know what I mean? So an illness was spread, and they wanted it to be really bad and devastating, and it wasn't, and it didn't multiply, and it had a glitch in it. And Cliff talks about this, is fascinating in his very latest one. I shared it again. I can't remember what it's called. It's actually a video that he does. I can't remember what it's called now off the top of my head, but put it in the comments, you guys, and maybe even share a link if you feel drawn to do that. I would appreciate it. But the thing with what he says is that these were designed to really take out people, but they didn't design them very well. It all must have got rushed, which I believe happened. Now, Cliff doesn't say this part, but I believe it was rushed so they didn't have time to really make it as devastating. And remember, at the very beginning, if you guys have been with me from the very beginning, I did a reading with the Thoth deck, right? The Thoth, Thoth deck. Aleister Crowley's now, I know he's a bad guy, but the woman that painted them was a really good person. I feel like it balanced it out. And you have the dark and the light with it, so you have to be careful when you use it, but it is an incredibly good deck if you're using it with really good intentions, which of course I was. Okay, so I did a reading on the whole lockdown, and right at the very beginning of it on my Sending Ravens. You guys remember that? And I didn't show my face on that one. I just had the card, just the card view basically over a table in my living room. And it was exactly what it was. It was pushed out too fast. It was made in a lab, and it was made on purpose. And none of that, we didn't know that yet. It was just the very beginning. It was part of my red pilling that they could do this, right? It was incredible. The reading said everything, and Cliff basically backs it up, all of it up. And he knew about this years ago because he was brought up reading all his dad's literature on these things. Okay, so how they basically the Zionists plan to kill everybody. Like, they've been on this plan for years. Anyway, it's fascinating. It's also fascinating. Okay, so here we've got the Two of Swords in the next thing that happens. Then it feels like the day ends, sort of, not too much going on there. That's like, doesn't go all the way to mainstream media, but we're used to that now. But certainly some breaking news around more information about what this does to kids, maybe. Okay, and now we've got the Three of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles, just more working on getting everybody prepared. Okay, because I believe they have to do this. It gets it in your unconscious and gets you prepared for what's coming. And then when you do hear it in the mainstream, if you're a normie, you've heard it on some level psychically, intuitively. It's easier to digest. That's why they're doing it this way. Okay. Wow. Let's look at, so that was the 30th. Let's look at the third. No, there isn't a 31st. So the next day after that, so now we're on Tuesday, that will be the 1st. And remember, they're talking about some big shutdown. Ports in the US are supposed to go on strike. I read on that, by the way, you guys that are asking, like, I read on that on my last World News, and they'll go right up, bump up against it, and maybe even actually go through the motions of, and then not actually shut the ports down. But that's just what I got. So it'll look like they're doing it right up till the last minute. Okay, but let's have a look at what we get on the 1st. Okay, so October 1st, 2024. I'm jumping ahead to November. Things are moving that fast, though. It feels crazy. Like, before we know it, we will be in November. It's nuts. Okay, so we've got the 4, we've got the Tower. So there's this pending potential Okay. And that could even be where they're saying they're going to shut the ports. Okay. But it could also be, we get a lot closer to the rhetoric of official World War III kind of stuff, right? We've been getting that off and on for, years now. And the Two of Pentacles. So there's a couple of different things that look like they could be kind of shocking. And so lingering around where everybody's sort of walking around on eggshells that day, it feels like. And then, I don't think the ports end up closing by the end of the day. I think something comes through, or if it is more war rhetoric, that gets stepped back as well. We've got surrender to things get stepped back from whatever disaster looks like. They'll be talking a lot about it all day, and then all of a sudden at the end of the day, we're not going to do that anymore, or that won't happen. And that's been going on, you guys. That feels like part of the psyop of preparing us for things. It's like, it's getting really old. Okay. Wow. Okay. So that would be October 1st. Let's look at October 2nd. Okay, so the sun in the background. So kind of coming into that on some kind of positive note, which could be that maybe the ports don't shut down at the last minute, or that war doesn't happen that looked like it was going to. Now we've got, because the sun, so you come out from sort of some good news and then moves right away in the morning on something, for very direct information, or at least a hint towards how they're going to out somebody. So a woman. So it looks like they're going to out a woman, or they're preparing us to hear devastating things about a woman. Well, that's been going on with, the Kardashian family. I was sharing stuff about that. They're as good as, I figured they're like another version of what Diddy was doing. I feel like they were also throwing parties and doing disgusting things and crimes against humanity. They're all inverted, like it's horrifying. The whole family's unbelievably twisters. Okay, so that, I don't even know, are they real? Could they all be reptilians? Like, it is that bad. Okay, these people do not seem human to me. Okay, yeah. But so I don't know who this is, but I feel like some really big pending. And also we got Kamala's really being outed. That Candace, oh my goodness, I love her. Okay, forget her last name now. Candace Owens. Amazing. I don't know, how she's just read in on. I feel like she's a white hat. I feel like she's working with the white hats or the alliance. But man, she's a smart cookie, and I just love how they're outing everybody. Like, she's outing everybody, and she's fearless, and I really respect that. Okay, so somebody's really like, they haven't quite said it yet, but they're really gearing up for somebody. And, it does, maybe by the end of the day, something does really come out. And now I'm looking at this could be a Scorpio woman too, or maybe they're outing a few different women, because we've been getting some really big players in this whole thing are women. Okay, so Hillary, of course, comes to mind. We got Kamala, but of course, a lot of people argue was born a male, so maybe not put her in there. But of course, a lot of the Kardashians. Like, we don't know which ones are boys and which ones are girls. Like, that's an interesting family. Okay, so here we've got the Emperor here and the 5. I feel like sometime in the day, Trump talks about he really throws somebody under the bus. He really outs something. Something he says really throws somebody under the bus, or his brand. So more outing of people here, but no big like people are saying big events. A lot of people thought October 2nd because that Mickey Mouse clock was always on a 10 and a 2, a 10 and a 2, so October 2nd. But that didn't look like anything like huge event driven. Okay, so let's have a look at now the 3rd. So we've done the 30th of September and then October 1st, 2nd, now the 3rd. So now we're what, Wednesday? Wait a sec. So Monday is that's tomorrow, is the 30th. Tuesday's the 1st. Wednesday's the 2nd. Sorry about that. So the 3rd is Thursday. So now we're on Thursday, it looks like. Okay. Let's see what we got. I got the word "know thy enemy." So some really good evidence of who's doing what. More outing again, more outing, you guys. This is, and it's been ongoing for years, and it's interesting because movies have been outing people, and they've, I think the dark side used the movie industry, but I feel like that got taken over. And I feel like it's been switched around. So a lot of shows and movies are really working to red pill people. Sorry, I got those middle of the room flies. They're really getting on my nerves. If you're seeing a fly around, I'm really not a clone, I promise. Okay, let's see. So we've got the 3 of Pentacles there. Oh, now we're getting some big, so Devil and Judgment. Okay, I feel like something across the pond from North America is really revving up here. Something's really revving up, and the US might get pulled into it, or maybe even North America gets pulled into it. So now we've got things revving up again, war type stuff, it looks like. And again, part of the movie. So I'm not really getting, like, again, it's going to look really like yikesy. So another rev up of scary potential things, and then sort of crescendoing into doesn't actually happen. So I don't see an event here, and we're at the 3rd already. So we're October 3rd, a big, kind of moving up to it, and really big information. So really watch what's coming out, because that's where it looks like all these days, really important things are coming out. So floodgates are open, that's for sure. But I'm not getting events here. Big run-ups to what appears to be or potential, and then all of a sudden they get all toned down by the end of the day. So that seems to be a regular thing. Okay, well, thanks everybody for watching my video, and do take care. Sending everybody ravens. And this is sweetgrass, by the way, if somebody's wondering what that is. Smells gorgeous, and it's a good, I burn it for particular reasons, but it's not an everyday burn thing for smudging. That would be sage, but that's for very specific kind of smudging. But anyway, Take care, everybody, and sending you all ravens. Bye bye.
Ta thấy ta nghe kể ba kẻ kết nghĩa vườn đào trong Tam Quốc. Chuyện đầu tiên họ làm là giết sạch cả bọn con, đôi đá với tên tử. Bọn họ liệu có còn tình cảm hay không? Lưu Bị coi vợ mình là y phục, gã đỡ sang điều an, xem vợ mình như đồ ăn, giết đi để đãi khách. Những kẻ này là người hay là dã thú? Nước thì phải trong, nữ thì phải sạch. Huynh có biết không? Này ta đã bị chính cha ta chết đắng. Lúc bấy giờ cha vẫn còn là một liệt sĩ, còn mình mẹ nuôi ca ca và ta sống rất là khôn khổ. Về sau bọn cướp trên núi gần đó kém xuống cướp bóc, mẹ đã đem giấu ta và ca ca ở trong một hang nước, nhờ vậy biết thoát được một kiếp nạn. Bọn cướp cũng danh bà, sao lại này chút lòng tốt hiến hoa mà không giết chết. Kết quả là mẹ ta không chết với đao của đám cướp, mà là bị chết bởi những ánh mắt khinh bỉ của cha. Của bọn đàn ông hèn nhát chỉ biết chạy trốn dưới bẫy mạng mình. Dương Lăng trầm mặc một lúc rồi khẽ thở dài. Trong lòng có thiên lý thì dùng vòng át bị diệt. Chết đói là chuyện nhỏ, thất tiết là chuyện lớn. Đời của Chu Hi Chu phu tử chưa chắc là đúng, nhưng vì thiên hạ này là thuộc về nam nhân, thế nên nó lại đúng. Rồi y nhớ đến thời đại của mình, lắc đầu bảo: không những đúng cho bây giờ mà 100 năm sau này, nam nhân con người vẫn tin thờ vào nó. Có điều thứ đạo lý này chỉ đặt ra dành riêng cho phụ nữ. Mã Liên Nhi trở lại: Chu Hi đã ta mở miệng ra đạo thiên lý, ngậm miệng lại thì là đạo học, nhưng lại đi dụ dỗ hai đi cô làm sủng. Gà nàng dâu quán không bị áo đùa bỡn trong tay, thật đúng là chuẩn mực của đạo đức, là tấm gương của kẻ đọc sách. Rõ nực cười. Dương Lăng chỉ biết lễ giáo đại phòng, tức là trần mực lễ giáo, đã được phát triển mạnh xuất phát từ Chu Hi nhà Tống. Kể từ đó nữ nhân tuấn tiết mới có mọc ùn ùn êm như đắm. Chỉ đâu biết Chu Hi còn có những chuyện phong lưu như vậy, hắn đành gượng cười. Trong cái thế giới này, tiếng nói của nam nhân rất là trọng lượng, thế nên yêu cầu về đạo học đối với nam và nữ có sự khác nhau cũng không có gì lạ. Ví như nam nhân bị sỉ nhục đến tôn nghiêm, khi đó cứ nếm mận nằm tay, nhẫn nhục chịu đựng, miễn cho tương lai hắn phá về được, thì sẽ nở mày nở mặt, không ai cần quan tâm hắn từng thân sỉ như thế nào, cho dù hắn có chủ động định hót đến hót ai. Còn nữ nhân có bị cưỡng bắt đến thất tiết cũng đã là tội không thể kháng. Mã Lê Nhi bất chợt quay đầu, ánh mắt như hai vì sao lấp lánh kinh ngạc nhìn Dương Lăng. Một lúc sau nàng nói: nam nhân thời này, đặc biệt là những kẻ đọc sách, có thể nói ra được những lời này thì chính là người đầu tiên mà nói. Ta thật nghĩ không dám. Huynh còn tuổi trẻ, lại đọc những cái cuốn sách thánh hiền đó đã đâu, thế mà lại có kiến thức như vậy. Đáng tiếc, thực sự đáng tiếc. Dương Lăng không kìm được hỏi: đáng tiếc gì? Mã Liên Nhi quay đầu đi, cất giọng xa xăm: hoàn quân Vĩnh Châu xâm lệ thủy, hận bất thương cùng vị giá tỳ. Tức là trà ngọc tràng lệ như mưa, hận không gặp gỡ khi chưa có chồng. Dương Lăng như mà chấn ngực tập tình thịch, không khí giữa hai người bất chợt trở nên trầm đàm. Sau một hồi lâu, y mới cố nặn ra một nụ cười, thu một câu nói đùa để xoa dịu bầu không khí. Mặc dầu chúng ta nhờ viên Minh Châu khi mà có riêng vậy, nhưng ta chưa hề gặp Minh Châu đâu. Xin tiểu thư chớ nên nhầm lẫn. Mã Liên Nhi thì cười một tiếng, xoay đầu trừng ánh mắt quyến rũ liếc y, rồi mỹ nhân đỏ mặt lên can đảm nói: đó là do Huynh không có phúc khí. Nhìn ánh đèn rọi xuống sống mũi cao cao của y, chống lòng của Mã Liên Nhi chợt đập rộn lên. Nàng lại quay đầu đi, chỉ cảm thấy có một cảm giác diệu kỳ lan tỏa giữa hai người. Khẽ quẹt vệt nước mắt lạnh ngắt trên má, nàng nói: ai đối xử tốt với ta thì ta sẽ đối xử tốt lại với người đó. Từ sau khi mẹ mất đi, Mã Liên Nhi ta cảm thấy trên đời này không có một nam nhân nào đáng để nữ nhân chúng ta phải hy sinh nhiều đến như vậy. Ta sẽ không làm những chuyện ngu xuẩn như tiết phụ trên sân khấu ấy đã làm đâu. Ta sẽ sống tốt vì bản thân mình. Dương Lăng đắm say trong cái thần thái mỹ lệ, kết hợp với sự tự tin và dũng cảm của nàng. Mãi một lúc sau vẫn khẽ thở dài. Cô đã sinh ra quá sớm, đáng lẽ phải sinh trễ hơn 500 năm, thật đấy. Mã Linh Nhi trợn tròn cặp mắt xinh đẹp đến làm đạm. Ôi không cảm thấy những lời ta nói là đại nghịch bất đạo, kinh hãi thế tục sao? Nói như vậy chẳng lẽ 500 năm sau thì sẽ không có chuyện đó nữa hả? Dương Nam trong lòng được hảo, vội cười ha hả nói, thật vậy. Ta chỉ nghĩ có lẽ lúc đó sẽ có một bộ phận nam giới có những nhân là một thực thể độc lập mà đòi hỏi bình đẳng cho bọn họ. Cũng chỉ là suy động thực tế, xúc động bộc phát mà thôi. Mã Liên Nhi khẽ cười, thò tay vào trên ngực lấy ra một chiếc túi, đưa tay lấy nước đặt vào trong tay Dương Nam nói. Ta có thể thấy phu nhân của huynh rất yêu thương huynh. Viên Minh Châu này, hãy coi là lễ vật ta tặng cho hai người. Chỉ mong huynh hãy đối đãi vợ mình thật tốt, chớ có sự tệ với cô ấy. Chiếc túi ở trong tay hắn vẫn còn vương chút hương thơm và hơi ấm của thân thể này. Mã Linh Nhi thấy hắn cứ đứng ngây ra, liền cười khúc khích, vén tóc lên rồi nói: "Địch, chúng ta không ngại thôi. Ta chỉ là trung tâm, chứ không hề có oán giận. Chuyện này dù sao vợ cũng chẳng nói rõ ra được. Lỡ làm nữ nhân, nam nhân cấp huynh có mấy ai mà hiểu được chứ?" Liếc qua váy, phát hiện thấy Hoàng Vân Thừa đã chạy theo ta đến nơi. Nàng vội rút tay lại rồi bước trở vào. Lại một lúc sau, Dương Lăng mới tỉnh ra, xoay người đi theo. Hắn thấy huyện Thừa Hoàng Kỳ Giật đang cười với mình đầy thâm ý, đưa tay ra dấu mời vào. Hắn cũng khẽ cười, chắp tay đáp lại. Hai người không nói lời nào, nhưng lại như thân thiết vô cùng. Quý vị và các bạn thân mến, chúng ta vừa kết thúc tập 4 của chuyện xuyên không được tuổi trẻ mình. Hẹn gặp lại quý vị và các bạn trong tập 5. Xin chào các bạn thân mến, chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đã quay trở lại với chuyến về vệ thống. Chúng ta tiếp tục với diễn biến tập 5 chuyện xuyên không ngược về thời Minh. Dù Mã Linh Nhi đã quay lại, nhưng vì chuyện lúc nãy nên bầu không khí cũng có căng thẳng hơn. Mẫn đại nhân và Mã Dịch Thừa không còn hứng thú tán gẫu nữa. Chuyện xong bàn chuyện công vụ. Hoàng Huyền Tường ngồi bên chỉ mỉm cười lắng nghe. Hoàng Hoàn nắm bỗng chêm lời vào. Dương Lăng là thuộc hạ, cũng là bạn bốn, nên đương nhiên là phải làm trách việc mời rượu và giữ cho bầu không khí vui vẻ. Có tránh hỏi uống điều, mãi đến khuya mới cắn từ ra về. Tuyết lại lất phất rơi, cơn gió lạnh cuốn theo những bông tuyết lùa vào cổ áo. Dương Lăng đã uống đến mặt nóng phừng phừng, đầu óc trơn choáng. Giấu hai tay vào trong ống tay áo, y khẽ ngâm nga một ca khúc hiện đại đã quên mất tựa, khoan thai, sẽ bước vào con hẻm nhà mình. Về đến nhà, ý định gõ cửa, nào ngờ vừa đưa tay lên khẽ đẩy thì cánh cửa đã mở ra rồi. Trong nhà le lói ánh đèn. Hàn Ấu Nương đang ngồi chống cằm trước chiếc bàn thấp, có vẻ rất buồn ngủ. Vừa nghe tiếng động, Lan Huyên ngẩng đầu nhìn, thấy y bước vào thì hút rất vui mừng đứng dậy đón. Dương Lăng ngạc nhiên nhìn nàng. Ấu Nương, trễ như vậy ta tưởng nàng ngủ rồi. Y lướt nhìn quanh, thấy dưới bếp lò vẫn còn chút tro lửa lập lè, hơi nước vẫn nhẹ nhấp lên trên nắp nồi. Hàn Ấu Nương bước đến giúp y phủi tuyết trên người, khẽ nói: "Công việc của tướng công vẫn quá thì phải." Ấu Nương định đến nơi hỏi thăm, nhưng lại sợ người ta cười nên đành ngồi nhà đợi chàng về. Dương Lăng nghe thế thì cảm thấy rất xấu hổ, ấp úng giải thích. Nói đại nhân hai ta cùng đi rửa tiệc, đi gấp quá nên không kịp bắn cho nàng một tiếng. Cô bé ngốc, làm gì mà đợi đông như vậy, đi ngủ luôn đi, có phải tốt hơn không? Nàng ăn cơm chưa? Hà Nấu Nương ngửi thấy miệng của Dương Lăng nồng nặc mùi rượu, cũng biết là y đã đi